Hello everyone and welcome to the program. I'm Seun Okinbaloye. Well, let's begin tonight with this ride on the show with the news about the trip of Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari to Morocco. The president is expected to join other world leaders for the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in Marrakesh, Morocco from tomorrow. President Muhammadu Buhari is participating in the opening plenary and is expected to deliver a statement during the high-level segment of the meeting. We keep our eye on that one for you. Quickly, we'll move into some other state politics now, and there is a change of baton, or I should say, a new governor is in town. Godwin Obaseki, that man who won the election, is taking over the governor as the governor of Edo State in Nigeria's South region. On Saturday, the inauguration was done. He took an oath and took over from Adams Oshiomhole after an election won by his party, the APC. Mr. Obaseki takes over from Adams Oshiomhole, who has spent 2 terms in office. Mr. Obaseki has a popular campaign promise, and he appears to be resolute on that promise, and that's the fact that he wants to provide 200,000 jobs. Well, he says he will work to make that available. Huge expectations, especially in an economy recession the nation is faced with. Let's take a listen to him now on that major promise that will sound in the ears of most of Edo people for some months.
I have pledged to create 200,000 jobs in the next 4 years.
Well, let's now brace up for what may be another breathtaking television show right here on Channels Television. Everyone, brace up. Channels Television will engage the top 4 candidates in one of the most engaging governorship election debates. Watch out, everyone. It's going to be perhaps one event that a lot of Nigerians will see as a landmark one in the country concerning election. The major candidates in Ondo governorship debate election will speak about their programs and their abilities to govern the state. It's just a week away, 20th of November 2016. Channels Television, with its partners Enough is Enough and Plaque, Channels Television will engage the world in a real conversation on governance and politics of the Southwest. So you watch out, mark that date on your calendar, and keep up on that 7 to 9 p.m. right here on Channels Television. Well, let's move to one of our major issues for the day, which we'll be discussing for a few minutes on the program before we move into some national issues. The implication of the Trump presidency is no longer news that the president-elect for the United States is Donald Trump. Well, who defeated a woman who most people are tipped as perhaps the most qualified for the job, Hillary Clinton. In a stunning and rather surprising defeat, Trump beat Mrs. Clinton in the Electoral College but could not reach a popular votes mark reached by Hillary Clinton. But the intrigues of the technicalities of the race aside, the reality is that Donald Trump will take over from Barack Obama, America's first African-American president. Well, take a listen to some of those interesting post-election soundbites right here.
Let me send one. Get out and vote.
Our campaign was never about one person or even one election. It was about the country we love and about building an America that's hopeful, inclusive, and big-hearted.
Ours was not a campaign, but rather an incredible and great movement made up of millions of hardworking men and women who love their country and want a better, brighter future for themselves and for their family.
This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for, and I'm sorry that we did not win this election for the values we share and the vision we hold for our country.
Hillary has worked very long and very hard over a long period of time, and we owe her a major debt of gratitude for her service to our country.
I hope that he will be a successful president for all Americans.
I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans.
We now are going to want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then the country succeeds.
I very much look forward to dealing with the president in the future, including counsel. He explained some of the difficulties, some of the high-flying assets, and some of the really great things that have been achieved.
Well, those interesting scenarios there. We'll take a few minutes to look at implications for Nigerians living in the United States, some of them with a Nigerian descent, and some, for Nigeria's relationship with the United States. But don't forget that we are live right now on Facebook. Facebook Live, you can get to see whatever we're talking about right now on the program, and you can comment and be part of the program. Let's know what you make of what we're discussing right now, because in the next few minutes, we'll be talking about some of the national issues regarding the relationship within executive and the parliament in Nigeria and what it holds for Nigeria's economy, but of course, historic and what had come out of the U.S. 2016 presidential election. But of course, a lot of concerns as we see protests dotting most streets in the United States, from New York to Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles. Loads and loads of protests, and several days of that has been happening as reactions to Trump's presidency. A lot of people have been wondering what would be the implication on Nigeria and on some Nigerian policies. You know, Nigeria somehow had relied on the policies relating to America. Well, let's bring in an expert in this field. We'll also be talking to us on some very interesting national issue tonight on the program. A professor of political science, Professor Abubakar Momo, who joins us from our Abuja studio right now. Many thanks for coming on the program. Let's start by going this way. We know the stories by now of how Donald Trump emerged as the U.S. president, emerging with a higher electoral college vote, with Hillary Clinton coming with a higher popular vote. In Nigeria, perhaps Hillary Clinton will have become the president. But then that's how their system works. We want to do the American federal system of government, but let's take a look at the impact of a possible Trump presidency on Nigeria. First and foremost, Professor, tell us, what do you make of these outcomes, and what impact could it directly have on Nigeria?
Well, the outcome suggests that ultimately every country is democratizing, whether it's advanced democracy or democracy of third world countries. We have seen the fault lines in American democracy. People are now seeing the disconnect and the disjuncture between electoral college votes, which are seen superior to popular votes. But what we are trying to do here is more post-mortem, because quite a number of us gave the votes to Hillary. But fundamentally, using the pollster syndrome, we were all victims of what historically is called the Tom Bradley effect. Tom Bradley was a black guy who ran, former mayor of Fairleigh, who ran for election as governor, and was standing against a white candidate in California. And all the white folks that were surveyed gave the impression that Bradley was more popular and that they were going to vote for him. But at the end of the day, they did not vote for Bradley. They voted for the white folk. So that is what is called the Bradley effect in pollsters, analysis, and survey. So the Bradley effect affected Clinton. There are so many variables, James Comey and his group, WikiLeaks, and all that. The problem of likability, the problem of trust, ethical issues, and so on. Not that Trump himself was not as guilty, but I guess the timing, the strategic timing of the entire exercise made Hillary Clinton the bigger victim. A lot of what was alleged were not investigated, but at the end of it all, Clinton found herself where she was, or where she is today. But that is not to lament anything. It is in the nature of American politics and American political system, in which racism was used as a very strong weapon to mobilize the lower middle class whites who, in post-foreclosure America, did not get back to where they were originally by 2007, 2008. And blue-collar Americans who were in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and all that, and who found that their fortunes were dwindling, and there's a lot of outsourcing, and companies were moving out of the United States of America. And they were being told the reason why they are where they are socially and materially was because illegal immigrants have come to take over their jobs. It was a rhetoric that could easily resonate with them. But now, the rhetoric is over. Now is the question about governance. How far can Trump pull all what he has said during sloganeering and political campaign? I'm saying that he'll be very lucky in quote, to be able to pull through half of what he was sloganeering about.
If I may quickly come in here, Prof, let me quickly ask you this. There are a lot of fears about some of the issues that you have raised, which a lot of people said Mr. Trump actually used some of the fault lines of the United States society to galvanize vote for himself. But take a listen to one Nigerian who said the reasons why they came out is this. Take a listen to him.
Only thing that actually pushed me out this time with so much passion is what Donald Trump said, that he was going to deport 12 million people. I remember my story how I came here about 30 years ago. If somebody had sent me back, I would not be telling this story that I'm telling now.
That's one story from a Nigerian living in the United States for over 20 years. But this kind of concern, do you think Mr. Trump has talked about building a wall to fence away the Mexicans? He has also said, well, it may not be a wall, it probably will be a fence. Well, he's also talked about Obamacare, which he said he will repeal if he becomes president. But now he's become the president-elect. He said, look, he may not really repeal it, more amend it. These are some of the things. Do you think that he has conned Americans into winning this election, or will he actually live up to expectation on some of these promises?
Well, those promises are not likely to be met fully. He may go a quarter way, find those who are with criminal records, deport them, and even the Obama administration had done that routinely. But to say that he can wholesomely deport 11 million people is really going to break American budget. Or to say that he was going to deport all Hispanics and all that is not just going to be possible. It is not possible. And he knows in his deepest of hearts that he requires that cheap labor for his own companies himself. American companies require the cheap labor in spite of the rhetoric. They require the cheap labor, illegal labor in various commercial farms in Tennessee Valley and all the places.
All right, let me quickly come in here because we need to take this very important break. But when we return, we switch our attention to a major national issue. But I will allow Professor Abubakar Malama to finish up on this Trump presidency and the implication for Nigeria. But when we return, it's going to be on the issue of the loan, $30 billion loan proposed by the federal government. We understand that may be represented to the National Assembly, the intrigues in all of this. That's next on the program. Join us again.